Alright everyone, welcome back to another episode of Smitty's Gunsmithing. Today we're going to be going over how to properly break down and clean an AR15 style rifle. Before we begin, let's discuss what you're going to need to properly clean one of these. There's a bunch of different tools and gizmos and gadgets on the market that'll help, but your basic things that you're going to need to clean it is going to be whatever solvent you want to use and whatever lubricant you want to use. A good cleaning rod that'll fit down a 22 caliber barrel, because the chamber on these rifles, or the bore, is 223, so it's just over 22 caliber. But it utilizes a 22 caliber cleaning brush, and you'll need a rod that'll fit down a 22 caliber barrel. Also, you're going to need a chamber brush, and this is what's shown right here. This is a 223 caliber chamber brush, and what it's designed to do is go in your rifle, and this larger area here cleans your chamber area of your barrel, scrubs it very clean as that gets pretty dirty. And this bigger area of the brush right here will scrub out your chamber lugs. You're also going to need a 22 caliber bore brush and a 22 caliber bore mop, or if you want to use patches and a jag, that's fine too. A bore mop makes it a little bit easier, especially on 22 caliber, because it's kind of hard to get patches down the bore, depending on the patch you're using and trying to get a jag small enough. Now, my personal preference, I prefer a stainless steel one piece 22 caliber rod. These were kind of expensive. I want to say when I bought this, and it was around $30 some for this one rod. Works great. It's very heavy duty. Again, everything is smooth all the way down, so you don't have different sections that have to screw together all the time. To me, it makes things so much easier. I love it, and it's my go-to cleaning rod. For those of you new to cleaning AR-15s, you pick these kits up on Amazon pretty cheaply. And this is a basic AR-15 field maintenance kit and cleaning kit. It's got the attachment points right here. You can attach it to your gear. You can get these for about between 11 and 14 bucks. You got a toothbrush, not a toothbrush, but a gun scrubbing brush. Comes with some, I believe these come with this kit. I might have put them in there, I can't remember. But you got some cotton swabs, some patches, a bottle so you can put whatever lube or oil in there you want, or cleaning solvent. Comes with your chamber brush, 22 caliber bore brush, and it comes with your cleaning rod that you have to assemble. And these just screw together. Now, I don't use this kit solely because I bought this kit to hold on to keep with my gear for field uses if I ever need it, and I can keep this kit with me at all times and have it. So I don't actually use this. I'm not going to use it today. I'm just going to demonstrate how it works. So then you can, once you get the rod assembled, hopefully you can see that, then you can screw on your chamber brush to clean your chamber, screw in your bore brush to clean your bore, and then screw in your jag brush or jag right here, or slotted tip, so you can hold your patches and run them down the barrel. But that's a little handy kit. They're not expensive. They're easy to use. Everything's pretty much you need pretty much there, with the exception of a rag or a towel and whatever cleaner and lubricant you want to use. So neat little kit for about 11, 12 bucks, 13 bucks on Amazon, depends on which model, which one you buy. They range in price a little bit, but I think I paid around $11 for this one. It's also a neat little kit just to have in case you ever need one down the road. You can carry it with you to maintain your weapon in the field, on the go, you take one of your hunting cabin, leave it, you know, however you want to do it. Yeah, I'm not going to be using this kit. Just wanted to show it to you, show you what's out there and just how inexpensive a good kit can be. Okay. Another optional tool. Just makes life a little bit easier. It's not necessary. This is called the Chamber Boss from Real Avid. It's a neat little tool. It's got these chamber pads on it right here at the end. That gets up into lugs and helps cleaning those out. You can store extra ones in the handle, and it's got that tip there, I guess, for scrubbing them. I haven't really used it, but that's actually my first time using this tool. I just got it. Another thing, when we get to the bolt carrier group, this Carbon Boss by Real Avid. It's a neat little tool. It's got a bunch of different functions and attachments on it. For cleaning your boat. I don't think I've used this one yet, maybe once, I can't remember, but that's it. It's got a lot of neat little features on it to enable you to clean the variety of surfaces on the bolt carrier group. It's not necessary. Can't remember how much I paid for this, but it's a handy little tool. Can help. And I'm gonna lay it over here for now. There's another tool that's made for helping with cleaning the bolt carrier group, and that is the Otis 5.56 bone tool. And I'll kind of demonstrate how it works a little bit as well when we get into the bolt carrier group. Alright, first things first, make sure you don't have a magazine in your rifle. Alright, you're going to pull your charge handle to the rear and hold it. Hit your bolt stop right here. Just want to lock your bolt to the rear. Visually and physically check and make sure you don't have a round in the firearm. Always remember to be safe. Alright, and this one's clear. Drop the bolt carrier group. Don't know why I closed the dust cover. It's going to pop back open, but just have it. I like to keep my dust cover closed. Alright, you're going to push your front and rear takedown pins right here. If they're stuck or they're difficult, you can actually take a bullet tip or a pin punch or anything and just push those out. Once you've pushed them out, they'll be all the way to the right side like that. Alright, they're retained so they don't fall out. If your AR was assembled correctly, they're retained. And this separates your lower receiver from your upper receiver. Okay. Next, in the field stripping process, release your bolt by pulling back on the charging handle. Take your bolt carrier group out, and your charger handle will lift up and then pull out to the rear. If you notice, you got two little wings right here on either side of your charger handle. They index into a slot right in here on the upper receiver. So when you push this in, you'll find that notch and it goes down. And then you can slide it back and forth in its channel. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but if you're looking at it, you know, on your own rifle, you can see it pretty easily. It's not too hard to find. Okay, so the first step is going to be, and well, the way I like to do it, first thing I like to do is get ahead and clean my chamber. So I've got my chamber brush on a separate little pistol rod here, because I don't need a full rod for this. I'm just going to take some Breakthrough Carbon Pro. I've just started using this product. It is phenomenal. No, I don't get any sponsorships from Breakthrough. Everything I have, everything you see me use, I bought. Alright, take a chamber brush and go up in there, and you're going to scrub the barrel lugs and your chamber really good. And it's a little tight, especially when you push that brush all the way up in that chamber. But you want to clean it really good. I'm going to squirt some more Carbon Pro in there. Now that I've got that out, I'm going to take my carbon boss and just run it in there, and you see how those cleaning pads right there, it's got little lugs on it. It fits right in the lugs of your chamber right here, your chamber lugs. So I'm just going to take that in there and stick it in and scrub it around really good. Okay. You can see it clean quite a bit of gunk out of there. This gun's not really dirty. I just qualified with this gun a few weeks ago, and it had, I think we put about maybe 60, 70 rounds through it. 60 qualifying. I might have shot a few other rounds with it, I can't remember. But so this gun hasn't been used a lot since it was last cleaned. But I like to keep my weapons clean, so I used it, we qualified with it, and it's getting clean. It's got some dust and stuff on the outside from riding around in the car, but that doesn't affect the function of it. Okay. The only thing about this chamber boss is it's kind of a pain in the butt changing these pads out. There's a lot of threads here. I think it could be improved if they had just a small thread sticking out into the rod right here, where you could just quickly screw on a patch with like 5 or 6 turns. I think this tool would be much more useful and much quicker. So I'm just going to go all in there again. Scrub all of those lugs. Okay, got a little more gunk, nothing much. That's what I like to see. I'll set this aside, I'll take that off later. Take a Q-tip and just get it all up in there the best I can. That's fairly clean. When I rinse it, so brake cleaner a little bit, it'll be even cleaner. So my next step is going to be to take my actual bore rod. I'm going to screw in a 22 caliber cleaning brush, bore brush. Give it a few sprays of my Carbon Pro. You're going to run this brush all the way down. Bags in and out several times. And what you want to do is just scrub all that rifling. Get any unburnt powder residue, carbon fouling, anything else out of your rifling. Okay. Once that's done, I'll screw your chamber brush or your bore brush. I'll screw in my bore mop. Just like that. Now you can spray cleaner on this if you want, but no dirtier than this rifle is. I'm just going to run it through here dry. And all I'm doing is scrubbing out that powder residue and stuff that I broke loose with the bore brush. Okay. I like to hold my barrels up to a light where I can see. And that barrel looks pretty clean. Okay. Now for your upper receiver, you can take your brush that was included in the cleaning kit that I showed you, or you can take any brush you want. I use a typical toothbrush most of the time. I've got some of these other brushes and I'll use them, and there's certain parts and areas that they're useful for. Particularly when you're trying to scrub this bottom surface right here. A longer brush, narrow brush like that, and that one actually isn't one of the good ones. Let's see, I got one somewhere. It's a narrower brush. This might be it here. Yep, this narrower brush gets down in that channel better, and they want you to scrub that channel out. just works better than a regular toothbrush. And I got some other brushes somewhere, but I can't seem to put my hands on them right now. Another thing, if I can get to it. Okay. Real Avid makes a set of brushes. They're specially designed to get in hard to reach areas and little nooks and crannies. This is the set of brushes right here. You've got some bronze brushes. So you got a square one. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not the bronze one. There it is. You got the square one. Got a longer shaped one. You got a flat T-shaped brush, and you got a diamond shaped brush. And there's the bronze, and then here's the nylon ones. So they're good for getting up in little hard to reach areas like that as well, or in different guns. That's why I bought them. I like them. So I'm actually going to use this brush right here to get up inside there and clean all that. And what I'm going to do is just spray. I got my dust cover closed. Spray the whole inside of the receiver with some Carbon Pro. And I'm going to take my regular toothbrush into my hand and start scrubbing. I'm going to go up in here in the barrel lugs as best I can with the toothbrush, just clean them a little bit better. And I'm going to scrub the sides of the receiver, inside of dust cover. Come in from the rear and get the side portion right here where you the channel where your bolt carrier rides on either side. And then I'm going to take my little brush right here and go up in that channel that your charger handle rides in. When you get up here at the very top, where your gas tube is, that can be a little difficult to get down in there too. But if you put some pressure, just bend your brush a little bit, you can get in there and get to it a little bit better. And then that smaller elongated brush, it didn't really quite reach down the sides, but that's okay. I'll utilize some long cotton swabs and just get on either side of that gas tube right there. If you can see way down in there, because that area there gets really dirty. That gas tube gets really dirty. And just get in there and get behind on either side of that gas tube and up under it the best you can. See how dirty that was. Take another one. Go in there and scrub it some more. You want to scrub it till it's clean. That front area where the gas tube comes through the front of the receiver, you want to screw all that as well. And then I'm going to actually scrub the gas tube itself. See how dirty it is. It's very, very dirty. It's so dirty, in fact, I'm going to take a bronze brush and I'm going to wet it. Carbon Pro. And I'm going to scrub that brush, or that tube. Okay. I'm going to get back in there with another. I tore loose a bunch of stuff right there. I built up carbon on the end of that tube. That took it up nicely. That Carbon Pro is absolutely the best thing I've ever used, the best product I have found for cleaning off burn-on carbon. It works phenomenally well. Again, I'm not sponsored by anyone. Everything, every tool, every cleaning product, everything you see used here, I paid for with my own money. And I've got a lot of money in this stuff. With all the tools and the cleaning products and stuff I do have, I've got a lot of money tied up in it. But gun care products, gunsmithing tools, and stuff are not cheap. When you have a variety of weapons, a variety of firearms you work on and you own, and you have to have different things for each one, it adds up over time. Now what I'm doing is just taking a rag and I'm going all up in here and scrubbing out the inside of the receiver where I scrub it out with the brushes. I force that rag down the sides where the bolt carrier rides. So it's going to be this fatter portion, this rounded portion right here. It's got the hole on the inside. I'm just going to stuff that rag up in there from the back. You can take a brush or something and push it. The bigger your rag, the harder it is to get in there, of course. But alright, I pulled it out from the front. Alright, now the inside of your upper receiver should be nice and clean. But another step I always do: non-chlorinated brake cleaner. Hold it up like this, and I'm gonna spray it up into my chamber lugs just to rinse out any remaining residue and stuff that's up in there that you couldn't get to, because they are hard to clean. And when my dust port closed, I'm just gonna spray out the entire upper receiver. I let everything run down and out the back of the rifle. Alright. That gets everything in there nice and clean. It rinses out any remaining residue that you might have missed that's not baked on or stuck in there. Okay, now that I've got that done, I don't know if you can see this or not, but way up there in your chamber lugs, it's gonna be, I'm trying to get this rifle where you can actually see it. Okay, that's better right there. Way down in there, you can see your lugs like a star. Alright, you can actually see the end of the barrel down in there. And a heavily used rifle that's not been cleaned and maintained properly, you may get a heavy carbon buildup around the outside of that barrel right there. If it gets thick enough that it causes you problems, you can take a flat head screwdriver and just scrub the rim of that barrel right there. Take some like Carbon Pro, I highly recommend the Carbon Pro, and go in there and soak it really good and help clean all that up. But in most cases, most rifles is not used very much or have been properly maintained, at least halfway, it should never build up enough to be a problem. But I have seen some things, so don't ever let anything slip by you. Alright, now we're going to talk about the lower receiver. This is a basic clean, and not a full disassembly. This is a field strip, so we're not going to take this apart, period. At some point in the future I will do a video on how to disassemble this, but it's not needed for regular cleaning. And if you don't know what you're doing, things won't work right when you put it back together. One thing I do like to do, take a punch or anything, take your finger, capture your recoil buffer, push, let me get an actual punch. This is your pin that retains it. Just let that go. Pull it out. And slide your buffer off. Buffer tube shouldn't get that dirty. But every now and again, at least every few times I clean the rifle. I like to run a rag up the buffer tube. A long thin rag works best for this. tell if you got anything built up in there or not. That don't look bad. I'll take my cloth and just wipe down the spring. If you really want to clean it good, you can grab your rings right here. Get your rag started in there, and you can twist it all the way down until you clean them all the way through. But these don't get that dirty. I don't really need to. So I'm just going to take my rag and twist it down the spring. Like I said, this isn't something that's necessary. It's just an added step I like to do. It's a good way to check and make sure you don't have any rust developing in there or anything. What I'm doing now with this rag, this will clean, wipe off the inside edges of the spring. Pull it out. And I could go, I started about right there. I could go the rest of the way if I wanted to, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to fool with it. You don't want to stretch the spring, but just give it a good wipe down. Give your buffer tube a good wipe down. Check this, see what condition and shape it's in. Everything's looking good. Actually, that pin's starting to walk just a little bit, so I'm going to address that while I'm here. Some actual bench block right here. Pin's pretty much even. I'll knock it a little bit more. Alright. Pin's pretty much even on both sides now. And this isn't necessary. I'll take a can of Hornady one-shot gun cleaner and lube, not case lube, gun cleaner and lube. I just give it a good spray. Put it back in there. Push it down, that detent right there catches it and holds it back in place. Turn my rifle upside down. Take my non-chlorinated brake cleaner. Take my lower upside down. And just spray that out. Good blast. Alright, then I'll wipe everything down. Okay, clean my trigger guard area. You get a lot of dust build up on there sometimes, depending on how your rifle's stored and what you use it for. Back down. Give it a few minutes for that brake cleaner to dry. It dries pretty quickly. I like to wipe out my mag well just in case any dirt or debris got up in there. Okay, and that is it. Now, again, I'm a fan of Hornady one-shot. Come in and spray out the inside. Spray the sides of my receiver as well. Make sure you pay attention to your pins and your little parts like this right here that can rust. So this doesn't need to be lubricated at all. Nothing here needs to be lubricated. debatably. You put 1 drop of grease between your hammer and your trigger, where they meet together. It's not necessary. It doesn't really improve the trigger pull that much. It just helps smooth the 2 parts as they move against each other a little bit. I don't recommend doing it if you're in a dirty operating environment, but I'm gonna set this to the side. That horn will be 1 shot dry while we go into our final part, which is the most critical part, and that is cleaning the actual bolt carrier group. I'll set this stuff out of my way. Okay. Clean up my workspace a little bit. So this part is called your bolt carrier group. This is your carrier. This part right here on top is your gas key. This fits over the gas tube that was sewn on the top of the upper receiver coming in from the front. Gas tube slides right in here, and that's what allows your rifle to cycle and function when you fire it. Right here in the front part of the rifle, your barrel, this is your front sight base gas block. There's a hole in the top of the barrel right up under here where gas, once the bullet passes this point in the barrel, gas comes up into that gas block, comes down that tube that runs up underneath the handguard. See it right there. Comes to the front of the receiver and comes to the top of your upper receiver right here. Alright, that's your gas tube. That indexes into here. And that's what drives your action rearward. Now, in this position here, your bolt is unlocked. Notice that it rotates in and out, in and out. And it rotates slightly as it moves forward and backwards, okay? This is your unlocked position. Has to be in this position to go in the rifle when you put it back in. If it's pushed back like that, it will not go because your cam's in the way. In that position, it's unlocked. As your rifle chambers and this goes up, these lugs right here index with the chamber lugs I showed you earlier, that star looking pattern on the front of your upper receiver. That's your chamber lugs. This is your lugs on your bolt that index in those. And as this closes, those turn and locks the bolt into place. Okay, and this happens automatically every time you fire around, back and forth. So when it's locked in place like this, fire it around, firing pin goes out the front, strikes your primer. If powder starts burning, it propels your projectile down the barrel. Once it passes the gas block, gas will start coming up through the gas block, through your gas tube, comes back into your gas key, begins pushing this back. As it pushes this back, there's a notch in the top of your receiver that catches this cam and pushes your barrel on your bolt back forward, unlocking it. Allows this to come back. It slams to your recoil buffer that I showed you in the buttstock. Ejects the spent shell casing, and then the recoil buffer bounces this back forward, and this surface area right here begins picking up another round from your magazine and chambering it, and then your bolt will wind up, and once this fully closes, your bolt will close and lock it in the battery. So to assemble this, a cotter pin right here on the right side, or the left side rather. You just pull that out. Firing pin will drop out the rear. Notice how easy that was. They don't all drop out that easy. Depends on how dirty the gun is. We'll talk about that more in a minute. Now, to get your bolt out, you want to rotate this cam just like that. And you can take a punch or whatever and pull it straight up. If it's not rotated and oriented in this position to your bolt, it will not come out because of the catch on the gas key. Once you got that out, you pull your bolt out the front. Don't ever want to take your gas key loose unless you need to replace it or repair it. There's no need to take it loose, but a very important thing to watch for. Notice these are Allen keys. I'm trying to get this as close to the camera as possible so you can see. These are 2 Allen keys that hold it on. Notice on either side of the Allen key, right here and right here, it's staked in place. You got a dimple in the middle that's pulled over right there. That's to keep that gas key from working loose. through the recoil of the rifle. The rifle getting towed, beat and banged and dropped and everything else. Because over time those screws will loosen. Always check and make sure that your crimping is good on those screws right there. And if it's not, the metal's not crimped over on those screws enough to hold those screws, keep them from turning. If they ever loosen up, you need to get a punch. Now you need to crimp that back over, fold that metal back over some more. You can take a chisel, you can take a punch, and make special punches for it. And you want to peen that metal back over and crimp those back in place. Always check them when you got your rifle apart. I got your bolt carrier grip out. Always check those gas keys and make sure that those bolts are tight. Because if you start running your rifle and you start having issues with it jamming or locking up every couple of rounds, typically it's a good indicator that your gas key is starting to work loose and it's moving. And when it moves enough, you don't get enough gas in the rifle short strokes. And mine's nice and tight, and that's what you want. I actually saw a SWAT operator's rifle on the range one day malfunction, and it was due to the gas key. And what we did as a quick range fix is I got some blue Loctite or red Loctite, I can't remember, and we put soaked the threads in Loctite, or coated the threads in Loctite, not soaked them, but the screw didn't bound really nice and tight. Give it a few minutes for that Loctite to set, and he was able to use the rifle with no more problems until we get the metal peen back over. So that's the thing you want to watch. That can affect the operation of your rifle. The key things you want to pay attention to on here and clean really well. It's inside right here where your bolt goes, and this channel that your firing pin rides through, and it comes through your bolt right here, comes out the front, and your firing pin, and all the surfaces of your bolt. That's the important parts. Okay. I'm gonna take some Carbon Pro, spray the outside and the inside. I'm gonna take a toothbrush, just scrub it all down. If I sometimes get things a little bit off camera, I apologize. I'm new to this, so I'm trying to learn how to record, keep things where you can see it better, and I'm trying to figure out how to learn how to do some video editing. So I'm learning a little bit as I go along. I'm gonna go in here and scrub out the inside. I don't have anybody filming this for me. I'm filming this on a tripod with my phone, and I've got my phone linked to my computer where I can kind of look up over here to my left and see what I'm looking at, what y'all are seeing through the camera. But sometimes I still just get involved in what I'm doing and get off camera a little bit, but I'm trying to watch it. So once you scrub all that, the best thing I have found to get up in here with, and it's going to be hard for me to get to without moving the camera. I forgot to take it out. Wrong one. Yep, size too big. That's more like it. Okay, this is a 20 gauge bore brush. 20 gauge shotgun. I don't have any 20 gauge shotguns. I hardly ever work on one. I'm gonna change my tip right here. I wish they made all bore brushes and rods to work with the same tips, so you don't have to constantly change, use as adapters. It gets aggravating. Okay. Now this ain't probably the best size, but it's the best I had. You can see it's been up a little bit from doing it, but 20 gauge bore brush. And then I go up in here, scrub that out really good. Okay. Now I'm going to take 4 cotton swabs together. Spray them. And we'll run straight down to the bottom. There's a ledge in there. And you want to get past that ledge and just scrub the bottom of it out really good because it gets really dirty in there. It's like 60, 70 rounds fired right there. Okay. Alright, once you've done that, you can look down in there. I don't know if I can show it on camera. You can kind of see there's a ledge down there. You can't see the dirt, but where the carbon built up down there, but it's on there. So I'm gonna take just a single cotton swab, and I'm gonna just go around that ledge and clean that carbon very well. Okay, you don't have to get it perfectly clean, but I'm a clean freak when it comes to my guns, so I give it a little more attention than is probably necessary. That's okay. Seen dirty guns fail. I've never seen a clean gun fail. Not that it was properly reassembled and in proper working order. Alright, now this is where I'll showcase this little tool. This is your Otis Bone tool. If you got a bolt carrier group that's heavily dirty, heavily built up with carbon, you can run this up in there and turn it. Clean. It scrapes that whole inside of that area really good and helps break loose that carbon. Okay. Mine's not that dirty, it doesn't need it, but that tool really comes in handy for that. This Real Avid tool has this one that goes in there and you can screw it. Personally, I love this tool. It's a Carbon Boss AR15. I love this tool. It's got a bunch of useful features. But for cleaning the inside of the carrier right here where the bolt goes, my personal preference is the Otis Bone tool. I have both. I use both. Once I get that scrubbed out enough, I'm going to take me a rag and twist it up in here as big as possible. And what you're trying to do is just get it tight enough in there and all the way into the bottom. And just give it a good scrubbing. Okay. Now, if you look in there and look in the light, it's pretty clean. There's a little bit of carbon on there still on the actual ledge, but that's not going to affect anything, and it's pretty dang clean. Alright, next area you want to pay attention to, I like to clean really good, is going to be my cam. Look at what just came out there, that one wipe. So there's a slot right here where your cam goes in. I like to scrub the sides of it and clean them really good as it gets dirty as well. And it's not critical to the function of the gun, but it can affect it. If your cam can't move back and forth and lock and unlock like it needs to, then your bolt carrier or your bolt actually won't lock up and unlock like it needs to as your rifle's firing. But I've never seen a rifle fail due to that. I have seen it fail due to what I'm about to show you. It's not necessary, but I like to go in here and clean my gas key. Screw up in there and clean out as much carbon as possible. It's going to get dirty again. pretty highly unlikely that it's going to get dirty enough. That it's going to come up the gun. But it could happen. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pipe cleaner, soak it with some Carbon Pro, and run it in there and push it down, and you'll see how it comes. Maybe you can see down. Let me get it oriented right. Yeah, right down in there you can see where it comes out into your opening for your bolt. Alright, let's see how dirty that was. I like to do that just to clean that open there in the back, very back. It's down about right in here, where that gas comes out into your bolt. Alright, good pass with that. That's all you need. Now take some cotton swab and I like to clean this area right in here around the back of the firing pin. See how dirty that was. And this is where I use the other end of my Q-tips. That's why I left them up there. Okay. As you can see, this gets really dirty. This is where the head of your firing pin right here rests, right up in there. And it does get dirty. And what this can do is, if it gets dirty enough, your firing pin can stick, or it won't free float back and forth. And when your hammer comes down and hits the firing pin, your firing pin can't move to ignite your primer, which is the most common weapon malfunction I've seen with an AR15 that's in proper working order otherwise. And it's just due to lack of maintenance. And actually an officer's gun who went to qualify on the range, had been carrying the gun all year long, I actually had 2 of them. And the carbon buildup in here and inside your bolt was so bad that the firing pin couldn't even move. How do you not clean your weapons, guys? Well, you depend on your life depends on your weapon functioning. Maintain your weapon like your life depends on them. Whether you're in law enforcement, military, use it for home defense, it's your everyday carry weapon, and whatever weapon it might be. AR-15, handgun, shotgun, labor gun, bolt action rifle, whatever you got. I mean, just maintain it like your life depends on it, because you never know when it may. Alright, once I've got that clean, I'll take my rag, again a long rag, and I'm going to run it in from this end. Run it up in there. There's kind of a channel in there. It'll pretty much follow that channel. Just twist it all up in there really good. Alright, once you get it nice and tight, got it forced in all the way. Turn it several times while pushing in on it. And the screw bolters inside surfaces down really good. Okay. Now your actual bolt carrier is pretty freaking clean. Now I actually run my brake cleaner down my gas tube. Okay. Clean the whole thing good with brake cleaner, spray it down. And just wipe it off. Pat it out. Set it aside and let it dry. Okay. Now we're going to get on to the other 2 parts. That is your cam. Again, I love Carbon Pro. Stuff is amazing. Bring it down. Give it a good scrubbing with a toothbrush. Okay. And what you're seeing there is actually the coating that's wearing off. It's not carbon built up on there. It's just a coating that was on the cam pin wearing off from where the cam pin rotates inside the rifle. So no, it's not still dirty. It's actually pretty good clean. Now I'm gonna clean that hole right there through the cam pin. Okay. Now I'm gonna clean my firing pin. Give it a little spray, Carbon Pro. And see, this carbon just comes right off of this very easily with that Carbon Pro, and the fact that this rifle has been maintained. So I clean this rifle every time I use it pretty much, very shortly thereafter. So I don't give this rifle a chance to get dirty, really dirty. Again, my life might depend on it. I don't want a chance when I need it that it might not work. Okay, so I cleaned up pretty nice. Now I'm going to show you where this carbon boss comes in handy. If you have a firing pin, it don't look as clean as that one. And if it's steel, you'll notice on this one right here, got a little bit of carbon built into that ring right there. And I could get that if I wanted to, another method, but and it's scrubbing right off with that pin punch right there, very easily. But anyway, two ways to fairly easily clean these. Take some 4/0 steel wool, soak it with a cleaner, and then just scrub it down really good all over all the surfaces. Or if you want to get one of these carbon boss tools, I like it. It works good. Got this wire brush on the center. I was trying to see what this piece here was called or what it was for, but I'm not seeing it. Let's see. You can come right here and run your brush. This is really designed for your bolt tail, but you can twist your firing pin and scrape it with that brush in there as well. And you can stick the head in there and clean that as well. This right here is actually your scraper made for your firing pin there. Got a little hole right here. You stick your firing pin in there and it scrubs that main portion right here from there to there. Okay. Somewhere else on here, it's got a scraper right here for your cam pin if you need one, if it's that dirty. And you got a scraper right here that'll get the front part of your firing pin, that first third right there. It'll scrub that nicely. Basically it just cuts that build up carbon on there if it's still real dirty. Mine's not, so just demonstrating to you how it works. And you got that little thing. I'll show you what that's for in a minute. So firing pin's clean. I like to wipe down my cover key just because. Now we're going to get to the bolt. This is the most critical part on the bolt carrier grip bolt firing pin. You are going to want a pin punch. And I'm going to try if I can get to my roll pin punches. So my computer is kind of in the way here. I think I've got, nope. within seconds. Okay. I'm just going to use a regular punch. Okay. You want to take and hold your extractor in right here and push out this pin. This is not a roll pin, this is a regular pin. Lift your extractor and you got a spring right there in the bottom of it. Okay. Now the second part is actually your ejector, and you want to push it in, take a punch and push that pin out. Keep your finger over the end of it so it don't come flying out. There comes your ejector, and there's your ejector spring. Okay. You don't have to break it down this far every time you clean it, but once it gets dirty, you're going to need to. Alright, I'm going to slip and bolt down Carbon Pro. Take a regular toothbrush. Scrub the whole thing down. I'm gonna push that pin into my finger if my finger bleeding. Okay. 2 areas on here, or 3 areas that gets really dirty that you need to pay attention to. And this is where the bone tool by Otis comes in handy. This surface right here is from the back of this bolt tool up here. This surface right here is going to get a lot of caked on carbon if you don't clean your gun every time you use it. And it can become a pain to clean. That's where this end of the Otis bone tool comes in handy. Stick it in there and scrape all that. It's got 3 lugs in there that scrapes that surface. And you see it's not doing anything now, it's because it's not dirty. But if it had built up carbon on it, it'd be scraping that carbon. Okay. Also, another feature I forgot to show you. Put your firing pin in like this, and it'll scrub that flat surface of your firing pin right there. It's got 2 lugs right there that'll scrape those surfaces. And I can't remember what that was for. Anyway, so you got this tool that you can clean that with, the Otis bone tool. But your Carbon Boss has that big brush in the center. That's what that brush is for. Just run that all up in there, scrub that down really good, and it does it that way. And again, it depends on your level of dirtiness, how dirty it is, how much carbon you got caked on there, as to which I would use. This comes in handy if it's really dirty. If it's not, that works great. Another little tool you got here I showed you, push this out. This is a little tool to scrape inside here. Okay, so if you got a bunch of built up carbon on your bolt face right here, you can get in there with this. You can see it's angled. It's got an angled blade on it. Maybe you can see that on the camera. Yeah, there you go. You see the angled blade? Okay. And you just come in there and you scrape that. And scrape off that built up carbon. And then you can also, at the same time, use this edge here and scrape the rounded portion right here. It works really well. It's very handy. Both tools, the Otis tool and the Carbon Boss, both have features I like about both of them. That's why I have both of them, because I use them both. I don't want to stick to one or the other. Okay, so we got this clean, pretty much inside, or all of the main points. I just scrub your barrel lugs really good right here, or your bolt lugs. Scrub out the area where your extractor goes, make sure it's good and clean. The next part, that's very important, is your firing pin hole. And I like these pointed tip cotton swabs, because when I stick them in there, you see they come all the way through the bolt face protrusion right there. Alright, I'm just going to twist that around and scrub that really good. Come back out. I'm going to go back in with a dry one. And this is a rounded one, so it won't come out the end. But it's a little bigger around. It'll scrub out the rest of that area pretty good. Alright. We got a few more. like this to be clean. I'm gonna go back in, point it in so I can go all the way through. Push it up in there real good, pull it out. Still getting quite a bit of stuff out of there. That one come out a lot cleaner. That's what I like to see. Another thing you can do is take your 22 caliber bore brush. If you got one that's kind of worn, you can run it up in there and clean it. And I thought, I don't know where it went. I had a 17 caliber bore brush. If my memory serves me well, the 17 caliber goes up in there easier. But all right, take some cotton swabs. I'm using my cheaper ones, I think, the long wood handles. And I'm gonna scrub all this area in here where the extractor goes very good. Okay, and I'm gonna scrub that bolt face where we cleaned that. And then I'm gonna scrub every single notch of your bolt lugs. Okay, that nice and clean. Then I'm gonna go in here and where your cam rides. Up in here, you see that's pretty dirty. I actually double up my Q-tips on that. Let you scrub it a little bit better. Okay. Alright. I'm going to take my pipe cleaner I used earlier, take the folded end of it right here. Hopefully this will fit. Not quite. Okay. That's why I keep cutters on my desk. Okay. Take a pipe cleaner, go down the extractor hole. And as you can see, it wasn't that dirty. I'm sorry, the ejector hole, not the extractor. It is kind of dirty. And this one's screwed around in there really good. Just have more carbon at the very base of it. Flip that off again. Try to get as much use out of your pipe cleaners as you can. If you cut them, make them go a lot further. Okay, see that came out pretty clean, so I'm satisfied with that. Okay. We'll run another cotton swab. The regular cotton swabs I get from Walmart, I use them a lot. They're cheaper. They don't fit up in here very well. You have to kind of force them. And I wouldn't push it past the cam right here, because if it gets up in here and that cotton comes off, you're gonna have a bunch of mess stuck up in there to try to get loose. But they do fit nice and tight to scrub out this tail area right here. Okay. I'll take and wipe down the whole exterior. I can get back on camera here for you guys. Okay. Got a good wipe. Now you want to be careful with your springs so you don't lose it. So I like to pull mine out. They can be a little difficult. They actually kind of twist and lock in there. Or some of them do. Got a little plug right there. I'm gonna take my little punch. Actually, I'm gonna take a pair of pliers. Just grab it, pull it out. Okay, you see it's got like a little plug in it. See that to your side. Now you see how easy that, how hard that one was to get out. That's the way you want it. You don't want them falling out loosely. But if it's loose and you start scrubbing this about taking it out, you can lose it. Send it flying across the room, and then your extractor and your bolt and your AR15 is not going to work until you get another one. Okay. Scrub that extractor down real good, especially this hook right here on the front. See right there, that's what actually grabs the rim of your case. Let's see if I can get this where you guys can see it. It's kind of hard. It's not wanting to focus. Anyway, right here in the front, you'll see the lip right in there. That's what catches the rim of your cartridge case. I want to scrub that really good. Make sure it's clean. Then I'm going to take a pointed cotton swab. And let's go in there and scrub it out good, and you see how dirty that came out. Let's pour it to clean that really good. I'll take that other end of my cotton swab and scrub that rounded area right here. Scrub my hole where my spring goes. Wipe the sides down and the top. Okay. And you can see that extractor was pretty dirty. Okay. I'll give it another wipe down on my rag just to make good and sure it's clean. Carefully wipe your spring, don't lose it, don't drop it. Alright, then you're going to want to put your spring back in. And it should snap into place. Okay, once it snaps into place and it's straight and level, hopefully you guys can see this. It's not wanting to focus the best in the world, but hey, might do what we got. Alright. I'm going to take a cotton swab and just wipe down my ejector. Now as you got all this clean, I'm going to take and spray my bolt down. Brake cleaner. Spray my extractor down with brake cleaner. Okay, I'll let it sit a minute. I'll let it dry. Hitting my camera leaks here. A swig of Monster and another pouch of dip while I'm waiting this to dry. I'm just going to wipe it down so it's not drying fast enough. Okay. Now you're going to want to assemble all this back together. So to start off with, I'll take my bench block here just to make it a little easier. Wipe down this ejector spring. Drop your ejector spring down in your hole right here. Take your ejector. You'll have a tail end on it. First cut out. You'll drop that in first. And down into your hole. And you notice that notch is cut there for a reason. That notch is where your pin goes through. That holds your ejector in place. So you'll kind of want to put it where the notch is down, where your pin will go in that notch. Alright, so once you get to that, you want to start your pin. Alright. And I'm going to push. Alright. I'll need a little hammer or something. Once you got it, once it gets on there and catches, you'll know it. You won't have to worry about trying to hold. And you can do this with any punch, any pin rather. But I've got a punch made particularly for it. As you can see, once you get it where it starts good, you can just push it in there. And it's not very difficult. And I just take my 1/16 inch star head punch right here, finish pushing it in. And once it goes so far, it wants to stop just a little bit. But I'm gonna give it just a tap with a hammer to see it. what you want to do is make sure it's seated in the bolt firmly and it's not protruding on either side, on this side or this side. All right, once you got that, lay the extractor back in. Spring goes oriented to the back right here. So once you put it in, oops, there we go. And before I put that in, I'm gonna give it a spray. I want to do one shot and give it a spray on the inside right there too. Okay. Once you got it in place, then take your pen and put it in and depress on this as you put it in. And when you get it pressed right and lined up right, your pen will drop right in place. Alright, and then you just want to push it. You see, maybe directional. There it is. So if you don't go in one way, push it in from the other side. Now you just want to center that pin in that notch. Just like that. Okay. And once you've done that, then you should have tension on your extractor. Take a punch and make sure that extractor is moving and that spring is pulling it back into place, or pushing it back into place. Okay, so once you got that done, it's time to reassemble your bolt carrier group. Oops. No. Okay. Again, I just want to do one shot. I liberally spray the entire bolt, the cam, the firing pin, and my entire bolt carrier. Make sure every single surface is coated. Now I'm going to take my bolt, put it back in the front of the carrier. Now you want your extractor on the right side and your ejector on the left side. If you're looking at it like it's going to be sitting in a gun like this, you want your extractor or your ejector on this side, your extractor on the right. Okay. So once you got your extractor on the right, you're going to want to rotate it until the hole right here in your bolt lines up with your cam slot. And you're going to want to drop your cam in. Okay, and you may have to wiggle it slightly to get it to line up just right. And your cam will only go in one direction. So once you wiggle that and it doesn't go, flip your cam around. Very hard trying to do this and show it on camera. There we go. Once you get it just right, then you turn your cam, rotate it 90 degrees, pull your bolt forward, drop your firing pin in, it should drop right in, and push your Carter key in. Now your Carter keys can be kind of difficult. What I found helps a lot of times is to rotate them slightly as you're trying to push them in, but for some reason they don't always want to cooperate. The more this separates right here, the harder it is to get it on the other side. But if you keep finagling with it, eventually you'll get it to go. Yeah, see how easy it went that time? Just one of the things that has to line up just perfectly while you're holding your mouth just right and while the sun, the moon, and the stars are all lined up in the exact right position. Alright. Bolt carrier group is now reassembled. one thing I did forget to mention, and let me just show it to you guys, just so you'll know. Take my cam, pull it out, pull the bolt out. Right here, you got the gas keys. All right, there's 3 gas keys right here. And it's extremely difficult to see this on camera. It's a stupid thing that won't focus very well, but there's one right here, one right here, and one right here. There's 3 notches. Now, you hear different schools of thought. You need to have them at 9, 3, and 6 o'clock positions, 10, 2, and 4, 10, 4, and 8, whatever. The critical part about this is making sure that your notches and your gas keys aren't in a line like this. Rotate one direction, about 90 degrees is what I do. Rotate the second one the opposite direction, about 90 degrees, and leave that one, third one in place. As long as your holes and your gas keys are all together, it's fine. Now that I got that, now I showed you guys that. Reassemble my bolt. Okay. Rotate that 90 degrees. Put my firing pin back in. And push my car key in. There we go. Alright, bolts reassembled. Now, function test to make sure everything's working properly. You should be able to flick it from the closed position, just like that, and it opens right up. Okay, and then hold it in the open position, stand it on its end gently, and it should stay in place and not close. I can push it and it closes, but it should stay in place, stay open on its own. If it does not stay open on its own, lean in your gas keys. Okay. Now that's done. Take your upper receiver. I forgot to wipe down my charging handle. That's not critical, but I'm not going to take the time to scrub it all out with a toothbrush and everything. I'm going to give it a good wipe down. Wipe down that channel right there on the inside of it. Whoops. Wipe down that channel in there real good. Wipe around the latch area. Spray it down with one shot. I'll spray the inside of my receiver. One shot. Contrary to popular belief, you don't need a lot of lubrication to run the AR15 properly. I like the Hornady one shot because it dries, it forms a dry lube. It has very high lubricity, and it doesn't attract dust, dirt, powder residue, lint, fur, hair, and everything else, like oil does. And it doesn't leave your gun wet and dripping with oil, but it does a very good job of protecting it from rust. It forms a dry coating on all your parts. It does make it easier to clean when you go back and have to clean it after you've used it. And like I said, this provides a very high lubricity as a dry lube, so it helps keep your gun running clean longer and keeps it lubricated plenty enough. I've never had an issue using it on any firearm. Spray that upper receiver right there. Never had an issue with it at all. It performs wonderfully. I like to spray my muzzle brake and the barrel, all the exposed parts. That'll help keep your muzzle brake from rusting, parkerizing rust easily if it's not kept properly lubricated or properly protected. Once you got it all together, put your lower back together and push your takedown pins. Okay. Now you want to function check your rifle. Cock it. Take it off safe. Firing properly. Hold your charger handle to the rear. Engage your bolt lock. Close your charger handle. Properly returning the bolt. Get my bolt release. Let the bolt go forward. Okay. Put it back on safe. Rifle's not firing on safe. Put it back on fire. I'm gonna open the charging handle and the bolt. I'm trying to get the bolt not locked all the way forward. There we go. No, it's closed. I can't even get it to hold open any. Anyway, if you get it to hold open any, just get your charging handle and make sure it pushes your bolt the rest of the way forward. You should never have to use your charging handle or your not your charging handle, but your bolt assist. But it's there in case you do need it. If for some reason your bolt's dirty and don't close all the way, quite all the way, you can bump that right there and finish pushing your bolt forward. Hopefully. Alright, function check, everything's working. Let that one shot cylinder outside a little bit. I'm just gonna wipe it down. It's drying, but it will leave a little bit of a blotched look if it dries on there when it's on. Just wipe it down. Make it look good. Okay. Alright, and now she is good to go. Wipe that barrel down just a little bit. And that's how to properly clean, reassemble, and function check your AR-15. Thanks for watching. Hope this helps.